I'm Seth.
And I'm Drew.
And this is
Nerd Meeting the Nerd.
Hey everyone.
What up, nerds? Oh,
do it.
No. Let's keep it. We're both excited. We're both really excited to be here racing and driving. I had no idea that this was going to be as fun as it is. This is on the IGN Top 100 Video Games of All Time. This is Burnout 3 Takedown. And PlayStation 2 game, dude. This was a game I missed. Absolutely, unequivocally missed. And I missed out, man.
It's oddly satisfying. Like, I really don't get into racing games, period. I've played
driving games in general, yeah.
Yeah, I played a few as a kid. Not this one.
No.
I had a neighbor friend who always bought racing games.
Yeah, dude.
And I would go to his house, and he would never let me play, dude. Like, it just wasn't cool, man. Like, he would get these games, and he'd be like, yeah, sorry. Like, he would intentionally, I feel like, buy the one-player racing games just so I couldn't play. Like, there was no option for a second. And clearly he didn't buy this game because there is a multiplayer.
That's cool.
Yeah, couch co-op this game, baby.
Love that, dude. That's disappearing, and that makes me sad. But there are certain games that are only multiplayer, like Pico, which I really wanted to play with Seth because, I don't know, everyone on the internet was playing it at one point, and I missed out, and I got FOMO. But we're not going to play it for a long time unless you yourself want to see us play it, and then we'll do it on a live stream or a Let's Play. There's information on how you can do that in the description down below. It doesn't have to be a game that we've played on this channel. I actually am very open. If someone wants to come along and say, hey, I really want you to play this game and it's not on the list, like any freaking Sonic game, why is there not a Sonic game on this list?
That's bizarre.
Sonic 2, bro. Sonic 2.
They're definitely Nintendo fanboys over at IGN. I am too, dude. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I would definitely choose Mario over Sonic. And I know that's...
The soundtrack of Sonic 2 alone, dude. It's so crunchy. It's so good. It like gets into your soul. Oh, it's so good.
It is good. It's very well done, and
it's a beautiful game. And they have levels where it's like you got to go fast, and then there's other levels where you kind of got to slow down, dude.
Yeah.
Like if you go fast, you're gonna.
And it's by design too. Like they know that you were just moving as fast as you could, and they're like, let's slow it down just to kind of mess with these guys.
Okay, everybody, we're gonna slow it down here a little bit with our favorite blue hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog. That's right, and with Sonic 2, that was the introduction of Tails. I'm not 100% sure how his tails work. In an alternate universe, I had a train of thought, and it was interrupted by children. So, no idea where I was. That's how it is.
That is just life.
In the big city.
There seems like I was just going to say, there seems like there should be a song that could be sang
it's
in response to that.
Depression.
What's funny is I'm gonna think
for you.
I am gonna think of it. I'm gonna think of what you were talking about like 3 episodes from now.
Yeah, I know. It'll be after we're done recording, and then we'll be like, oh man, really? Yeah, dude. It's fine, man. It's fine. That's the problem, dude. I get on these rants, and you can't stop the train.
No.
Because if you do, then it's gone. It's 100% gone. And that's the thing, man. Like the lack of respect in your household is like palpable, dude. Like it is like, come on. Like first of all, we do this like early in the morning. I guess it's a little bit later, your go around, I guess. And of course that just threw off our timer and I can't reset this thing.
That's all right.
So,
just give us an extra 3 minutes.
I know, dude, but still, man, it's just, this is why I did not have children. That and a slew of other reasons.
Mostly childhood trauma.
I do not. I don't want to continue the trend of generational trauma that exists in my family, and I'm actually seeing that with my niece and nephew in a way. I don't think it's as bad, but I do think that from the far outside perspective that I get on that situation, like I know that there's going to be some problems, and honestly, I hope whether either my niece or nephew are watching this, which I hope you are, honestly, because I would love to have a relationship with y'all at some point. And if you get to the point of, you're older and you're kind of looking back and you're feeling nostalgic, as long as, your grandma is still around, she's got my number. Okay. Um, and that's the thing, man. Like I'd like to like sit down and just chat with you. I'm not gonna crap on any of the family members unless you want some of the dirt. I know where the skeletons are buried. So
you know where the bodies are buried?
I know where the bodies are buried, dude. Well, there's skeletons by now. It's been a bit. I don't know how long it takes for like a human body to decay enough to where it becomes just skeletal remains, but I have a feeling we're past that point.
I don't know why like we keep I think maybe this is the one that we got 6th place on.
Okay.
That's why it's gonna like try to make us replay it. But
sure.
At any rate, I think what we were sort of talking about earlier is just how pleasing.
Anyway, off to the side, I got a side tangent for you. Speaking of kids, okay?
Yeah.
I don't get Bluey, okay? And I know that is going to make a lot of people very mad. I don't get it, okay? I get that the color scheme is great. It's a very bright and colorful cartoon. I love animation. I love cartoons. I don't get it, okay? I think part of it is because I don't have kids, and the sound of children screaming and yelling is not something that I want in my house. So I don't, and that's like a fair portion of what's going on. I mean, they're kids; they're having fun, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm probably like turning off a portion of our audience, but for the most part, our audience is like 20s and 30s folks. So if you're out there and you don't like Bluey or you don't get it, and like I'm not a huge fan too of like adults making Bluey their entire personality. Like I feel like that is way worse than a Disney adult. And you can call me a Disney adult. I am not. I've gone to Disney way more than I should have, but I'm over it, dude. Like I do not want to continue to go to Disney. That is not my one vacation stop, man. Like I want to go to Europe. I want to go back to England. I want to go to Australia and Japan. And yes, when I'm in Japan, I will go to Tokyo Disney or the Sea Park or whatever. But I want to experience that as a person that is interested in, what a theme park would look like in another country. But I'm also going to go to the Studio Ghibli theme park or museum or whatever you want to call it, because I love those films, dude. So freaking amazing.
I got to take it back to Bluey really quick.
Yeah.
I don't think adults should be watching Bluey, but I will say this.
I mean, you can watch it with your kids. Like, that's fine.
Right. But Bluey is a great alternative to things like Cocomelon. Cocomelon is like not good
Cocomelon
for
is
the brain.
Programmed specifically to keep kids watching.
Right, and Bluey is not like that.
It is programmed to be an addiction for children. And that's it. And that's the thing. Like, I'll give Bluey some props that it is a show that is similar to something that we would have enjoyed as kids.
Right, and that's why I think some of these adults like it, is because it reminds them of a modern take on something that they saw in their childhood. Because I can't relate. No one can relate of a certain age to the Cocomelons of the world.
Oh God,
it's just
dude,
too like boom, 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 boom. And you're just like, what is happening?
And it's just the lifeless eyes of those. I've seen a few episodes of Cocomelon, mainly because I've fallen asleep with Adult Swim on and been rudely awakened.
That's funny
at
that
5
that's
in the
on
morning.
Adult Swim.
No, it's not. That's so on Cartoon Network.
They play Bluey on there?
No.
Okay,
Come on, follow along with me, dude. I'm trying to map this out for you. So you've got your regular, middle of the road cartoons for kids, like elementary school age. That's in the middle of the day, and then eventually you get to your Adult Swim, which is, I think it's like after 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, something like that. That's when Adult Swim takes over, and that goes until about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then your Nick Jr. essentially would kick in, but the equivalency of Cartoon Network, and they've got like Cocomelon, and they've got Bat Wheels or something. It's like Bat cars that talk. Which
I am familiar.
Sure, whatever.
Very familiar with Bat Wheels.
So that's the little kid stuff early in the morning, because little kids are awake early in the morning. So I've been rudely awakened far before my alarm clock has gone off by the wheels on the bus go round and round, swish, swish, swish. beep, beep, beep. And it just makes me so mad. I would rather wake up to Billy Mays yelling at me to buy some product I don't need, okay?
I feel like that show, and I could be totally wrong here, but I feel like they've just appropriated a bunch of like music that is in the public domain.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I'm sure, and the animation is cheap and crappy.
Yeah.
And so I guarantee that show makes money hand over fist because it's cheap to make, it's cheap to put together. I mean, I don't know if there's ever really a storyline.
Speaking of public domain,
yeah,
I was watching an episode of something on, I don't know, like the algorithm on YouTube plugged this, and it was great.
Okay.
There's a couple of things, most notably Popeye the Sailor Man is hitting the public domain this year, which I thought was pretty cool.
Poor Popeye.
And more iterations of Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
They did caution, and I agree. Like, be careful when it comes to Disney stuff, guys. Even if it is in the
there's a
public domain.
lot of versions of Mickey Mouse, and Steamboat Willie has been in the public domain. But it is more specifically that version of Mickey Mouse. But they've changed him throughout time. And,
But they changed him enough, though, at this point that I think the variations are starting to hit the public domain.
Yeah.
They somehow will protect the Mickey that we know and unfortunately love today.
Sort of. There's an evolution. Speaking of children's cartoons that adults should not be watching, the newer Mickey Mouse short cartoons, I really liked those, dude. I liked them. Chris Diamantopoulos was the voice of Mickey Mouse, and I love that guy. He's hilarious. He was in the Three Stooges movie that came out. This was years and years ago. But he was also in Silicon Valley as like this billionaire guy that was just like such a tool. And he helped out the like group of, nerds trying to make it in Silicon Valley.
Right.
And he had his own tequila that was like Tres Comas or something. It was like 3 commas. That was the whole like representation of being in the Billionaires Club. But I like Chris Diamantopoulos, dude. I think he's just an awesome guy. And so seeing him as Mickey Mouse, I was like, I liked him for that. And plus the humor was clever. But
is it the one
man.
that's kind of like the Mickey's Runaway Railway kind of animation?
Yeah, and so what's crazy is they made that ride and then canceled the shorts. So there's no new version of that moving forward. And it's like, Disney, what the hell are you doing? Like, this is the dumbest decision you could have possibly made. You now have a ride based on an IP that is not currently active. That's really freaking stupid.
That ride is awesome, by the way. If you haven't ridden it.
I've heard. I have not. Again, like I said, dude, I will go to Disney like once every 5 to 10 years. That is my schedule pace. And now in my current state, my state of mind where I'm trying to, eat healthier. There comes a time in every person's life when they reach a certain age and things don't work as well as they used to. And you realize that, eating gummy worms and funnel cakes is not healthy for you. So
we just dropped. We're in some sort of like by the way, just to like bring it back to the game. Like,
I'm gonna pre.
It's just race after race after race. We were in first place. Now we've dropped to third place. We can earn it back though by winning some of this stuff. So,
all right,
all right. I mean, I'm having fun. I started to say that earlier.
Right.
We talked about it. This is fun. It's oddly satisfying. It's great.
I am getting bored. But that's not a you thing. Okay, that's a me thing.
Yeah. Dude, what it boils down to is when you're not in the driver's seat, pun intended, it is. Whoa, that was a heck of a wreck. Heck of a wreck. It's hard to get into not any, but certain games.
Well, and Seth and I had this conversation after our last week's Monkey Island 2. After we reported that, we kind of had a conversation. Seth was just not really digging the vibes on it, and I was 100%
dug the vibes.
sold.
I just
you weren't sold on it to the point that I was sold on.
I wasn't sold on it to the
I
point of going and playing Monkey Island ever.
Right, and that's and to me, I feel like I didn't do my job of like really portraying how amazingly awesome and fun it is. Like, it is really, really fun. And it's mainly because we weren't paying attention to the game at all. We were just chatting and chin wagging.
Right.
And that's fine. That's what the point of this. We are a podcast of sorts, which I hate that name because, two white men with a podcast seems like a giant red flag. But I like being a green flag, or like, whatever, like brown, I guess, would be the combination of green and red. Like, we'll be a brown flag for you guys. Which can also be used in times when you can't say anything, but you really need to poop.
That's right.
But no, man, so we kind of had this conversation, and like, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I'm a gamer, dude. Like, I'm a gamer through and through, and so that's why I really get into some of the stuff that we do, and so, but that's the thing, dude. We need more like commentary from folks, because right now we're going back and forth on games as best as we can. We've got some, Seth picked some, I picked some, and we're trying to make it as even as possible. But if you prefer one of us playing video games over the other, we're fine with pivoting. We're okay with that. Because I don't know, man. Like I don't know. Like, maybe at some point we'll have like a Twilight moment. We'll have Team Seth, Team Drew. Like, I'd like that. But we need more followers for that to actually happen, because at our current clip, I'm sure the gatherings would be small. But no, I want to like pit people against each other in the comments. And this is the thing. We were like really like kind of tearing down emotional walls, and and Seth had mentioned, he's like, dude, you don't have to like take the opposite opinion of me on certain things. And he was referencing the conversation we had about mixtapes, and he's like, we can just be two guys on the internet like waxing nostalgic about mixtapes. And I was like, dude, I really don't give a crap about mixtapes. Like, that wasn't my thing, dude. Like, I was a hopeless romantic when I was a kid. I never made a mixtape for a person to get a leg over or whatever. Like, that wasn't a thing for me. And so I don't see that value or representation in it. And I don't know, dude. Like, I even mentioned this in the episode. Like, and the fact that you don't believe me, like why? Why don't you believe me, dude? Like,
well, I believe you. I think it's hard in this format to say to the other person, I don't have an opinion on that.
Well, we have to for entertainment purposes, honestly.
That's what I'm saying. It's like. It's
because you don't want to shut anybody down. And I mean, I have no problem forming an opinion, but this is the difference between Seth and I, okay? Seth doesn't like to really get into like arguments or confrontations and stuff like that. He's much more passive than I am.
I'm stoic in that way. I don't consider myself passive. I just don't.
No,
I don't care.
Right, but I know you do care. You just because there is an emotion that happens that triggers when there is opposition between us. And so I appreciate your wanting to label it as stoicism, but it isn't a hardening of your heart to remain a beacon for other people. It really is that you just don't want to fight because you want to avoid confrontation. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a lot of what happens now. There's people that unfortunately don't stand up for themselves because they just don't want to deal with the confrontation. They don't want to deal with the backlash of it. And so many people are so just ready to go to fight for anything and
for nothing, mostly
for nothing. Yeah. Or over anything for nothing. That's where I was going. Thank you. But honestly, dude, like I am a person. I don't want to say that I like fighting, but I like being the guy who maps out the other perspective, and I can do that like really on the fly without any forethought. It's just, if you say that croissants are the best breakfast pastry, it's like oh boy, here we go. I love croissants, but let me tell you about the cheese Danish.
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you about the everything bagel or the salt bagel, which I recently discovered that it's been a couple years ago. It's not good for you, but it's oddly delicious, especially if you get it in New York. Oh, so good. But yeah, man, I like taking the other perspective on things, and I get passionate about it because I like to buy into the thing that I'm talking about, which is why I guess I'm in sales, you know? Oh, surprise, I'm in sales. Seth and I are both in sales. We don't like it. I mean, it's fine. It's a job. We enjoy our jobs. We like our jobs. We like our jobs. But that is not where we saw ourselves when we were making collages in elementary school. You know, I want to sell used cars. Like, no, that was not the thing that we wanted to do. You know, wearing plaid zoot suits and trying to sell, you know, cars that we are using super glue to put the bumpers back on and putting sawdust in the engine. It quiets the engine, and then they're long gone before everything, you know, goes to pot or whatever.
See that, and that's, you know, by the way, we're not car salesmen. I want to make that very clear.
I will never ever sell cars. But I do want
to. How much time do we have, by the way? I mean, just add 2 minutes.
Got about 3 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
and we'll add a couple minutes to it. That's what's on the timer.
Okay. Yeah. So
we had a break.
This is my. We can get existential about the channel right here and right now if we want to. To me,
let's whip it out.
That's the value right there, man. Like, you make a Matilda reference. We need to talk about Matilda, dude. That's a great. Nobody gives a shit about us talking about how one of us likes to fight and one of us doesn't. No one gives a shit. What they give a shit about is like, oh, Matilda. I forgot about that movie. They talked about Matilda for like 5 minutes, and I never would have even thought to watch that movie if I hadn't heard it in that short. Because let's be honest, they'll hear about that in the short. So I think what did Matilda make you feel? Like, Matilda, I'm just going to start. Matilda made me want to read, like, as a kid. But I never did, because I just, you know, I got nostalgia for something that didn't really mean anything to me. But I was like, I aspire to be a reader. And then I never like put that into action until later in life. But what did Matilda make you like? How did you feel when you watched that movie? Because it's a feelings kind of movie.
It is, and shout out to Danny DeVito because you did a phenomenal job with that film. So, in living in a household that was very similar to what Matilda lived and grew up in, having a sibling that was more important than you, and being in a space where you are underappreciated, overworked, and overchored, and just treated like absolute dirt, and anything that you showed any interest in was immediately cut down and discounted. I felt like I was Matilda, and every day I would pray for my Miss Honey to save me from the situation that I was in. And so
I had a huge crush on Miss Honey.
Oh my God, dude, she's gorgeous. She's still gorgeous. And yeah, dude, I was waiting for that moment, and unfortunately, I learned very early on that you're not going to get saved. Superheroes are an amazing thing to think about and pontificate over, but it's not going to happen. No one is coming to save you, so you have to save yourself.
Ooh.
As far into the depths of hell that you go, you are the only person that can get you out of it. There are people that can help you throw down a rope and help you get a little bit further than where you were, but it comes down to you. And that is the lesson that I learned from Matilda. And yeah, like you, I really wanted to read. I was just really bad at it and was not... The problems that I had as a child were never addressed because I lived in an era of parents, and I'll say parent, parents that anything that was wrong with you, it was the rub dirt in it and get up, or, you know, shut up, children should be seen and not heard kind of a thing. And I mean, you know, whatever, man. I'm here. I'm on the internet, dumping out my bag of emotions, episode after episode, and this has become my therapy.
It's very millennial of you.
Yeah, I know, dude. I know. And I feel it sucks, dude. I'm so atypical of the millennial, group of people, and I thrive to be my own individual, and yet I am more like so many of you out there. There's a lot of us, and if we got a support group together, none of us would show up because we don't like social interaction. but we would secretly comment and have great conversations when we have the mental capacity to do so.
Right, that's funny. Yeah, man, that's. I also have to. I want to wrap up Matilda.
Yeah.
But because we didn't even talk about the magic. I mean, I wanted to be magic like her so bad.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to like lift things with my mind. That's cool.
Well, and
like so useful. Like she didn't even she didn't even exploit it for money like I would have. Even as a kid.
I know. I mean, she did exploit it for the expulsion of Miss Trunchbull, which that was probably for the best. And anytime I see that actress, by the way, I think of Miss Trunchbull, and no matter what, even if she's like a nice lady in something, it's never going to be that way.
Never.
But this is the perfect time to wrap up, just because you just finished a race.
I love it.
And your dogs just started barking. So, from all of us here at Nerd Leading the Nerd, including Seth's dogs, come back soon.
Because we'll be playing this game and waiting.
Nerd Leading the Nerd.
We love to talk about all things nerdy.
Nerd Leading the Nerd.
We talk about pretty much everything we love here.
Nerd Leading the Nerd.
Seth and Drew are your friendly tour guides.
Nerd Leading the Nerd.
So sit back and relax and enjoy the ride with
Nerd Leading the Nerd. What? Nerd Leading the Nerd.